This meeting is being recorded.
Hi,
morning.
friends. Hi, Lucas. Go ahead and introduce yourself. We'll start today's fifth session of High Life.
Sure. Good morning. My name is Lucas Parrish. I'm one of the account managers for one of the teams working on the marketing campaign on the marketing side for High Life. And I wanted to take a moment this morning to drop or to let you guys know about a survey that we are doing to collect some primary research so that we can make more informed decisions about how to go about marketing High Life. So I'm going to throw it in the chat here. If you see that link, if you get a chance to fill that out, that would be wonderful. I'll send it again at the end. But it will not take longer than 15 minutes. It's a very simple survey. So thank you so much, Dr. Chalklingham. Appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, Lucas, for helping us scale what we are trying to do one-on-one to make it digitally available to more people globally over the next few months. And this survey that Lucas has shared with you will really help us build the type of programming that we can take it to the next level. And if people can do this at the end of 1 hour, that'll be wonderful. So it'll be done and finished with. And Lucas will again come back right at 10 o'clock and remind you to do it. Also, I'll try to send an email to all of our registered High Life members, which is now over 250 people. So far, I'm seeing 70 people in, but we'll send it to all 250 people so that it'll help Lucas come up with the business plan to try and scale High Life. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Are you able to hear me fine, Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay, let's share screen.
Yes, I
Get
can.
started. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes.
Okay. So today we'll start with the slideshow, and then at the end of it, we'll have question answers we'll have at the end. So let me see if I can mute everyone. Are you seeing it full screen or part screen, the slide?
Part screen.
Part
screen.
Okay. Does it look good now?
Yeah. Oh, it's big enough.
Hi, friends.
It's full page.
Am I exercising enough? Intuitive exercise and sports towards improving heart health and reversing chronic disease. March 6th. So this is the fifth of our 8-week series. Thanks so much for joining us live today. And those who have not caught the first 4, it's available at High Life Journey. And if you catch up with that, it'll be great so that in March, we'll be able to follow along with the next few weeks of the entire live series. So this is a summary of our world. What I'm meaning here is children are smiling, and when they start growing up, they smile lesser. And it looks like, based on the surveys available globally, this is a trend all over the world, young adults are the most stressed because they are entering into a new and unfamiliar world on their own. And then when they go through life, their happiness only keeps increasing. So how do we cannot probably blunt this completely and make everybody happy, but this is something to think about. Why are our children increasingly facing challenges? In High Life, we talk about diet, fasting, intermittent eating, and anti-inflammatory food, exercise, meditation, so many things we talk about. But at the end of the day, my core strength is cardiology. That's what I'm trained in. But I feel to help my heart patients, I have to work with lifestyle. Without lifestyle, just with pills, I cannot effectively help heart patients. And then comes ancient wisdom of mind-body methods like yoga that bring so much value to healthy people and to people coping with illness. And when we look at the scope of what we are now teaching as self-inquiry in High Life, the scope of this is several log scale levels higher than what we can achieve with medicines. This I did not know 15 years ago. I thought self-inquiry could be just a complementary tool to cope with diseases and to improve compliance with medicines. But we are now saying, after learning from my own patients over the last 15 years, that we can reverse a lot of the chronic diseases when we approach it the right way. So what is this secret behind our program? The secret is silence. We need 1 hour to talk about silence. But in silence, in high life, what we are accomplishing is turning our intention towards what we want to do. When we pay that attention, it builds a deeper awareness towards whatever we are doing, and that is where the magic starts. Okay? This is a race between man and horse. This is about 35 miles, and people do this in different parts of the world. Half the time in the last 50 years, the horse wins. The other half of the time, man is able to outrun horse. And we race the horse not because it is one of the fastest animals or the strongest animals, but it has the most endurance in the whole animal kingdom. So man is built with so much endurance. It is insane. And there are some other animals which are close to the horse. I think there's a type of deer and some other animals. But if you look at the lion or say tiger, they are very fast, but only for a few minutes they can run that speed. If you have to run a mile, many animals will not be able to keep up. The only other animals that keep up with human endurance is a horse. That's why we are racing with them. And this is a talk that I attended last week, which was very enlightening and sobering for people all over who think they can exercise their way to health. We have done our own research here at the university for 15 years trying to figure out what is the best exercise towards health. And this study, what it shows is very revealing. What it says is, compared to someone for 50 years, he has just sat on his desk, working, building his career, whatever. At 50, he's totally sedentary, working long hours. And next, he says, Anand, I want to exercise and get more healthy. I want to lose a ton of weight. And then he starts, say, running 3 miles, 5 miles every day. 5 miles a day is a lot of running, right? If he starts doing that, for a few days, he'll burn a lot of calories, but within a few weeks, the body reacclimatizes. So the overall energy expenditure evens out. And how the body adjusts is so intuitive. Although the exercise itself takes a lot more calories, he cuts back without himself knowing on energy that was spent on inflammation, stress hormones, and the reproductive hormones. And this is what we know from longitudinal studies. So basically, the slide tells us by exercise, we may not be able to lose weight. Exercise is amazing. All these are beneficial changes. But if we are intending to lose weight, this is not going to be that effective in the long run. And that we have known in our own research also. That is why the last 15 years, we are insisting that out of any weight loss, only 5% can be attributed to exercise. 95% of weight loss is related to not diet. It is related to reframing our relationship with food. Normal weight works just like physical activity to protect against aging. This is a different study. And what the study is looking at is our DNA's biological clock. Just like we have Apple watches or whatever watches in our hands, our DNA is also on a clock. It's getting older just because time is going on. And when we get UV rays exposure, when we get mentally stressed, when we are working too hard, our aging gets accelerated. When we sleep right, when we eat right, when we do things that are really fun for us, then the clock slows down. And people who do physical exercise, they tend to do better, but that works only if they have excess weight in their body. So what this means is, if we don't carry extra weight in our body, We don't need to be exercising that much. That's what the latest DNA evidence is telling us. Looking at that biological clock itself, we are getting very valuable insights into the science of aging. This is another study. And what this study shows is by being a little hungry, that itself is an exercise. So here we are comparing rats that are training for the Olympics versus rats that are just sitting around. And we are seeing that exercise training makes them obviously more skilled in distance and speed, how far they go and how fast they run. But if they eat Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and don't eat alternate days of the week, that itself makes them fitter than rats that are just sitting around. So if you tell me that you don't have time to exercise, then if you stay hungry, that's going to make you a little more fit than you would have otherwise been. This is what animal studies are saying. And this we have been talking about for years, but we took it to the Cardiac Rehab Society and presented our way of self-inquiry as exercise awareness and smile experience. How meditation during exercise can help heart patients regain their confidence and physical health. Every week we had someone tell their stories. Today we wanted our friend, a international tennis player, to come and talk to us, but you'll have to do with me because she is busy. She couldn't join us today, so I had to put my own picture. I'm not an international player, but I love tennis. I've loved it all my life. So that is why I'm able to play several days of the week, singles tennis with 20-year-olds. The trouble with 20-year-olds is they have too much energy and they can play all day long. I'm not a 20-year-old, but I still love the game so much that I give my best at the game. And I don't count this as exercise. This is the first winter here in Colombia. Our indoor tennis facility is not operational. So I don't get to play much tennis the last 2-3 months. Now this last 1 week, the weather is nice, but January, February was not easy with the cold winter here in Missouri. And I don't get much exercise. So my exercise was connecting with you through High Life and being a little more hungry than I usually am. So I'm saying being a little more hungry in itself is my exercise. I hope you get that point. And then we also published about how encouraging flow can help heart patients. So this is the flow phenomenon where, say, for instance, if I were to play tennis with Liz, who talked to us in the second week, she is doing so well in High Life, but she's not a tennis player. I'll be bored if I were to play with her. But if I were to play with Swami in India, I will be getting anxious because he's a good player. If I were to play with somebody who's at my level, there is a chance 1 in 10 times when the difficulty matches my skill that I can enter into flow. Does it make sense? So this phenomenon was described in 1975 by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And what we encourage people to do, this is the Borg-Dyspnea Index. So right now, all of us are at 1, just sitting around listening to a chat or webinar. And then if we are doing some physical walking with a small pet, it could be at a 3. Moderate exercise would be walking briskly on a treadmill. And if we are playing singles tennis, it can go all the way to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 would be just running at full burst. It's like sprinting a 100-meter dash. So that would be 9 or 10. Most people cannot sustain that for more than a couple of minutes at whatever level of fitness they have. And we don't encourage this in anybody at 9 or 10. But people who are totally healthy might be able to go to 7 or 8. But for most of the benefits that the world needs, if we stick to 5 or 6, we can get most of it. Okay? But understanding where we are in our own level of exercise is so important. At 5 or 6, we can't maintain a casual conversation. We'll be short of breath. It'll be that hard at 5 or 6, and we'll be sweating within a few minutes. Make sense? So 7 or 8 is really, really pushing it. And the smile experience is actively relaxing while we do that self-suggestion of being lighter. So what I mean by that is I weigh about 175 pounds. When I am pushing myself on the tennis court, it's already 1.5 hours. It's the middle of the third set. If I don't play well for the next 10 minutes, the last 1.5 hours of work is of no use. I'll not win the match. At this point, I start smiling some more and suggesting to myself, Anand, I'm only 90 pounds. That suggestion that I'm lighter rewires my understanding and everything inside. So that is the self-inquiry in the tennis match that allows me to maybe push my limit some more. I'm already at a 7 or 8 at that point, but instead of going to a 9 or 10, I'm able to improve my performance at that level. So that is what is the exercise can be aerobic, interval training, resistance training, but much more better would be sports. If you can connect with a sport that is fun. Marilyn has connected now with dance. We have to ask her to talk about it maybe next week about it. Next is modified Borg-Dyspnea index, which is what you just saw today, that you are going to be aware of exercise. Now you are aware. And then the smile experience. Smiling works 24/7. All through the day, our request is that you smile 20 times. But when you are smiling while pushing your limit, then you'll find that you can do more and do better with the exercise. And when you're smiling, my suggestion and request is imagine you're only half your weight, whatever your weight is, and that intuitively helps you perform better and surprise yourself. So this is the BFIT scale that you all answered. I wanted to get some slides on this. Maybe next week we'll do that. But these are questions you answered last week when we gave that survey. And when we find people scoring between 5 and 13, 5 is the lowest we can score because the score starts at 1. And people look at exercise as a job. But when we get to 15, then exercise is fun. When we get to 18 or 20, then we don't even do it for fun. We do it because this is who we are. Without exercise, life itself is not that meaningful. So that's the level of exercise become internalized. So that's what is the real scope of our benefit. So this we will go through in a minute. A 50-year-old engineer had chest pain for 30 minutes, went to the ER and his heart stopped there. So he was revived. He needed a stent. So if he was not yet in the ER, we could have lost his life. And then this engineer lives in Dubai. He got a stent in Dubai, and then the heart function got better. And then he, after going through cardiac rehab there, he attended High Life virtually. In cardiac rehab plus heartful living, within 3 months, his heart function improved and he had no symptoms. Then he started exercising more confidently through the week. 4 or 5 days of the week, he'll go on the treadmill. This is what he is doing. His heart rate goes up to 125. It doesn't go to 150 because he's going at a constant speed of about 5 kilometers or 3.7 miles per hour on the treadmill. He has a stent that is working. He is not having angina, but his dyspnea. We talked about 1 to 10. In that scale, it goes all the way to 10 in about 30 minutes, and he usually stops. This happens about 3-4 times a week. But once in 2 weeks, what happens is he's continuing the treadmill beyond 30, 40, 50 minutes. He can go on for an hour and longer, and the heart is only going a little faster. But his dyspnea suddenly drops off all the way down. Anyone can unmute yourself and tell me what you think is going on with him. The treadmill is not slowing down. It's still going. It's the machine. But he's not feeling that gradual increase in stress. It's just dropped off all of a sudden. And he finds that he's continuing forever on the treadmill. Anyone wants to unmute yourself and tell me what's going on with him?
I don't quite understand the graph.
Yes, ma'am. The blue line is his heart rate. The heart rate is 60, 80, 100, 120, 130. And that's because he's on medicines to keep the heart from going too fast. So the treadmill is still going. His heart is beating hard. But the red line is his dyspnea in a scale of 1 to 10, the Borg-Dyspnea index that we saw here. This is the index. it can go from 1 all the way to 10. For him, it is reaching 10. And then, although the treadmill is still going on, he's not feeling any effort at all. The trouble breathing has gone away, but he's still walking on the treadmill. He finds himself pleasantly enjoying the exercise once a week or once in 2 weeks. The other times, he just has to stop because he's reached 10. He cannot go on any longer. But how come once in a while, he's able to continue the treadmill and the breathing trouble goes away? Basically, I'm showing you magic. What is the explanation
He's
for
in
this
a
magic?
state of flow. He's in a state of flow.
Excellent. Excellent. Do you want to tell us?
Yes, he's enjoying it now. And
Yes,
so
how
he-
Marilyn gets it. Yeah, she's
He's
enjoying.
relaxing.
Anybody else?
He's relaxing while
Yes.
he's
So the three people spoke just now, I could see. Why don't you take half a minute to say when you might have had this chance in your life where you felt that level of flow? The three people who just answered.
Oh, yesterday, well, one of the days, yesterday or the day before, I went out on my deck because it was so warm and pleasant. And I've been trying to do dance moves on the deck. I mean, my neighbors must think I'm crazy, and believe it or not, I started singing with that. Because, a song that I enjoyed in my teenage years. And I did that for, I don't know, maybe only 5 minutes or so, but I really was enjoying that exercise.
Can we all give Marilyn a big hand? The other two people, would you like to say how you connected and you answered? Just those two people, because we don't have too much time. I have lots of slides to go through. Three people answer.
Yes. Hey, Dr. Chocolingam.
Why don't you introduce yourself and talk?
Yes. All right. This is Leggy. Dr. Chockalingam's team and our team in here in Atlanta, Georgia, we collaborate with Dr. Chockalingam's projects in High Life, and I will be helping Dr. Chockalingam.
I think others have unmuted themselves, so I'm going to mute everyone. Yeah. Now, Leggy, can you come back and talk?
Yes. Can you hear me? And also, I'll be helping Dr. Chockalingam on whoever wants to do the certification in High Life. So please reach me. I'll be leaving my email ID in the chat in just a few minutes or before the end of the session today. So I was the one who told that probably he's in a flow. That's why he was able to continue his treadmill exercise without feeling the dyspnea. And oftentimes I find myself in flow. I like to hike, and sometimes I have, when I was 7 months pregnant, I had went up and down 900 stairs, even though a lot of people told me not to do it, but I pushed myself. I didn't feel anything. And I often find myself in a stage of flow when I hike and when I dance. So Marilyn, I'm with you. I love dancing. So I can go on and on and on, and I love running too. So these are the things that doesn't make me feel tired, and I can go on forever until I feel hungry. Hungry is being hungry makes me hangry. So that's when I stop. But yeah, those are the three times when I'm in a stage of flow.
Why don't we all give a big hand for Leggy? After 6 months, Leggy, what you're going to say is, I start the exercise when I am hungry, and it allows me to enter into flow much more often. That's what you're going to tell us in 6 months from today when you come back.
I am going to wait for that day.
That is the next level of being grateful for life itself. And I 100% know that's what you're going to do. I don't have any doubt on that at all. And it's only more of a celebration. For me, when I go play tennis, sometimes that I'm fasting and I enter into flow, I apologize to my opponent saying, I'm sorry, I was fasting, so it cleared my mind too much. I ended up beating you so badly, but next time we play, it'll be the same even match between us. So I get embarrassed with my success sometimes because I live in a small town. I've known my great friends for the last 15 years. I want to go back and play with them. And the usual Anand cannot beat them like that. I get beat by them more often than not. So that flow state when I am hungry and entering into flow is like saying I'm, what should I say? Blessed by magic. That's when that happens. And it doesn't happen all the time. Once in 10 times when I'm in the tennis court, it happens. And there are certain players with whom I get into that state sooner. So there is so much we can keep on going logically about it. But now Marilyn and Leji, they told us directly how they experience it. One more person would like to unmute yourself and tell us your story before we move on with the slides. You'll have to unmute yourself if you're going to talk.
Was it Janet Montjoy?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Willie Fox, and I want to try and answer this question regarding the graph. My wife and I have started going to a gym 3 days a week, and we have a routine that when we go in, first of all, we're smiling walking through the door because we know that it's something that we now enjoy. But I started part of my routine is I walk for a minimum of 30 minutes. And then I work on my arms, and then I work on my back strength. At any rate, the last few weeks, I wanted to push myself. So I said, instead of walking 30 minutes, why don't I try walking 45 minutes? And I tried it. And honestly, at that point, I felt like I could have gone an hour very easily and skipped the rest of my routine. And so I did do the 45 minutes, and now I'm feeling like I'm just doing more and more and more. And in my head, I have such a feeling of happiness and gratitude that I've stretched myself to the point that I'm now doing things I think I couldn't do before. And I think that's what flow is for me and my wife. And she's doing the same thing, not the same routine, but we go to the same gym and we have this workout, and we're both now starting to feel really good about it. And I think every time we go, each time we go, we have that moment where we have a sense of flow. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. So nice, Willie and Loretta, for sharing that with us. And that is what the beauty of this is. You keep exploring, and every day, this is the creativity. When we start with a smile and explore what our capacity is. And it's not like we are in a race with anybody. We are just doing it out of celebration. So nice. Thanks for
Anand,
sharing.
why does it happen only twice, or why can't he be in the flow all 5 days?
That is why this became a publication. See, it is so rare, Gagnesh. The person who described this is Mihai Csikszentmihalyi in 1975. And he himself wrote 30, 40 years later, it's so hard to understand. And even for him, it is hard to enter into this. This is like direct experience of very, very deep meditation. And this meditation involves the body also. And that is what, this is what I would say is
The goal is to get into this state.
Yes.
Or more into this state, meaning maybe 1 out of 5.
If you set this as a goal, then it becomes sometimes harder. So even setting it as a goal is difficult. Willie is showing the book Flow there. So that's a beautiful book written by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Please read that book, and that will give you some more insights. And if Mihai Csikszentmihalyi or Anand or Willie or Marilyn can show everybody how to get in that state, we will do it. But we can only encourage it for everybody to attempt it on their own, in their realm. People may say, can I do it while doing dishes or cleaning my floor? It is possible. You don't have to be writing music or playing tennis or getting on the treadmill or like Marilyn dancing on her deck. You can do it with anything. But then how much the heart has to be open to life at that time, that is the key deal. And because Gagnesh unmuted and asked, why can't I do it 5 days a week? His inner nature is going to be exploring this over the next several weeks. And he will come back and tell me, Anand, this is when I'm doing it now. This is why it is redefining my understanding of myself. So that is the beauty. We are not saying what Leji can do or Willie can do, because Leji is a very healthy girl in Atlanta. She is a VA and she is a health provider, whereas Willie is not a health provider. He is a heart patient with a weak heart, but he is also doing this. So it's not one exercise prescription for everybody. This is something we find out of our comfort zone, out of our happiness. Janet wanted to say something?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't get the video to work on this.
Don't worry, Janet.
Don't worry, Jen.
I have found I don't like to exercise. I have to be honest. I don't even enjoy walking a lot. But if I'm walking with someone else and I'm talking, and I never made this connection until this morning. When I talk with people, I'm usually smiling. So maybe that's makes a difference. I walked my daughter the other day and we went twice as long as I intended to when I first started, and I totally enjoyed it. I could have gone longer. So I think that helped, just doing something with somebody else.
Excellent, Janet. So that is the most valuable insight. I cannot exercise myself too much. We'll keep it this to ourselves. I cannot say this in a cardiology meeting. Exercise is recommended, required, 30 minutes, 5 days a week, 150 minutes a week. All that is basic requirement to stay healthy. But instead of doing it as an exercise, what Marilyn is doing as dance has 20 times value. That is what we want to emphasize here. Willie, when he's walking first 30 minutes, that's fine. But the next 15 minutes when he's in flow, that has 20 times more value. And that is actually so much safer than any exercise. But to get to that 30 to 40 minutes, Willie has to first spend 30 minutes on the treadmill. So it gets a little more deeper when you understand this. But when you do it intuitively, and in High Life, we are teaching this as an effortless way of living itself, then we feel people will get the benefits sooner. Okay, so this scale, I can post it and you can measure it for yourself, see where you are and move forward on this. Okay. So this is our engineer with the heart attack and stent, and his heart is not just a heart attack. His heart actually stopped. So this story we share, this is what we published in that paper, that he is entering into flow. Second wind, runner's high. There are different names for people who jog a lot and run marathons, and at the end of their limit, they suddenly find a second burst of energy and they keep going. So all that is described in different terms. But when we do this deliberately as an exercise of cardiac rehab, and we give them the intention of entering into flow, then that's what it is. Make sense? Now we'll talk about another professor. I'm going to mute everyone once again. And this professor here at MU, walking in Walmart, would get short of breath. He's 69 years of age. And why? Because he has given his life for this university and the academics, and his job has been very busy as an academic. He's writing grants, teaching. He just didn't find much time to exercise. It was not part of his life until he had a heart attack, required a stent on a weekend on around his 69th birthday. And then why are we talking about him? We have so many people in High Life. His story is amazing because this stent was placed in 2018, and then he began exercise awareness and smile experience component of High Life indirectly. He said, Anand, let me do it. And within 6 months, he started running so much that he didn't know where to run. He ran in a competition and won it. He won a 5K race for in a 69-year-old with a stent, starting to run and then winning medals. Can you understand how much confidence it has built for him? And that did not stop. His fitness training by 2019 with teenagers in the athletic gym at the university. And then this has become his life. He's spending, I think, hours on fitness and reports feeling 25 years younger. Somebody who was otherwise healthy with a heart attack, through fitness, he's becoming more and more healthy, and he's sharing this medal. Within few months, he brought this to we were doing Heartful Living in person in the VA hospital. So he brought this back within 6 months and said, through this is my reward for being in high life, and I want everybody to take ownership. It's not like all of us have to start running 5K runs, but this level of ownership to physical activity and to our body, that is what we published. So this first story is about entering flow specifically on the treadmill, and the second story is over a much longer timeline where that level of flow is there throughout the day that encourages him to connect again and again with exercise intuitively. And for him, the exercise is running and CrossFit and weight training to be able to compete better in running races. So this question of his heart being weak and having a stent and heart attack is very, very distant. He doesn't even think about it. Any questions on his story? Anybody? If not, we'll just finish up another few more slides and then we'll open it up for questions. Yeah, this is another great friend of mine. I went to medical school with her. She's a doctor who was stressed out at work. She woke up one morning at 42 and her husband did not wake up. This is a real life story. He had a sudden massive heart attack in his sleep. So 911 was not called. His wife is a physician. She did not know until the morning that he had died. 2 teenage kids. She lives a sedentary life in 2016 when she started High Life. By 2019, her work was very efficient. She continues to be single till today, but she remains fulfilled. Her kids are doing so well in academics. Instead of being sedentary, she started walking, then running. She doesn't know swimming until her 40s, so she went to swimming lessons, learned it, and then she knew to bike, but she learned to bike competitively, and now she has become a triathlete. Being a single mom, stressed at work, 2 teenage children, sedentary lifestyle, in High Life, this is the transformation that happened. And this is her, Dr. Anbumani. So I asked her to come today, but she has other commitments. She couldn't make it today to this meeting. So this is what it is. If we look at our state of health, there are a lot of medicines, procedures, tests that we need to go through. But then when we connect with our lifestyle and mind, we can make these changes more intuitively. When we connect with our motivation, psychology, positivity, optimism, then all these things become so much easier. And finally, when we connect with purpose and meaning in life, everything becomes aligned so beautifully. I don't know if this friend is here. I spoke to her last week. She said, I might not want to talk in this group, Dr. Chokalingam, but this is her story. 81 kilograms is not a lot of weight, but for her, that led her to have hypertension, fast heartbeat. She was dealing with breast cancer, endometrial cancer, back issues, osteoporosis, hypothyroidism, and she has now been in High Life since 2016. So you see what is happening in 2016. Her weight drops significantly, and not only drops, science says it'll all come back in 6 months. For her, it's not come back in 6 years. The important reason I want to share her story is her heart already had evidence of getting stiffer with the chambers dilating and pressure in the lungs increasing. Blood pressure medicines don't work when the pressure in the lungs go up. But now all these things have normalized. Compared to the echocardiogram done in 2016, we repeated an echocardiogram after 6 years. The new echocardiogram shows our heart is actually 25 years younger. Are you here with us to talk, my friend? Maybe she couldn't make it today. So this is the core of exercise. What we want to remind is, we might be sedentary right now. We may be doing some exercise just because our doctor asked us to. But now in self-inquiry, explore what is fun for you. That is the real thing. If you're having so much fun with it, then its value goes up several fold. And then when you're exploring new things, that itself is thinking outside the box, that itself is self-inquiry, and then find something that allows you to enter into flow. That is the way to really benefit from exercise. We just started out saying exercise is not a good way to lose weight, but exercise is a great way to connect with life itself directly. Willie was saying how happy he is between 30 to 45 minutes on the treadmill, but I'm sure with the weather getting better in Missouri, he's going to try exploring walking outdoors. There, nature is beautiful. He can connect with the trees, with the birds, the sounds, the breeze. So that is a direct relationship with existence that the treadmill might not offer. Okay, so that is what we will wish Willie to start exploring when the weather gets better. So, and then I love to play tennis. You see that I show some proud slides and things like that. But I might not be able to play tennis 2 years from today. I might have some injuries, some other life situations. But then I can still keep exploring where I can connect with some physical exercise and then find that happiness in there. So it's not like something is written in stone. As life course happens, we have to be willing to adopt and adapt and whatever, and keep moving forward in the best direction possible. Starting at 55, those who are not fit don't do too great. Those who have high levels of fitness, they do amazingly well. But you don't need to be extreme triathletes or marathon runners. Just a modest level of fitness. 30 minutes of some exercise on most days gives us most of the health benefits of exercise. Okay, and that sustains throughout life. At one point, at the age of 55, if we can say that we are moderately fit. That is why when Marilyn came to me at the age of 80 and said, Doctor, I've had trouble breathing for 15, 20 years. Will High Life help? I wasn't sure, honestly. And now Marilyn started our 2023 series because I acknowledge that I did not know as a cardiologist that above the age of 60, 65, we can make that much changes to a stiff heart. But Marilyn is the example. She's here with us to answer our questions that yes, at 80, heart failure can be cured. That's what she's proving to us. We haven't even written her story as a medical publication. We have to sit down and do that. But she's here with us today to answer our questions. And this is the study that we first started in 2008 for that specific question. And there, if you see, I kept the age between 40 and 60 when the heart is stiff, how we can reverse that stiffness. And this was my mode. In 2008, I thought we need to push people harder in exercise. And if they are below the age of 60, we can make the heart less stiff. And this is what most cardiologists worldwide still think, that exercise is the best way to reverse diastolic dysfunction. Whereas people like Marilyn and Willie, they are showing me there is a way that is 20 times or maybe 100 times more powerful, which is their inner nature and their higher consciousness that is guiding them towards better and better health every day. So this is one of our participants, a veteran in our study in 2010 time frame, who did the upper extremity exercise, the bicycle. You might ask why he's not exercising with his feet. The trouble is many of our heart patients end up having back issues or stroke or other limitations that challenge their ability to get on the treadmill or walk on their feet. So whatever our disability is, we want to make it tailored and available at home, hopefully. This is a home-based rehab study that we did. And this is aerobic interval training. So we know cardiac fitness means warm-up, maintaining on the Borg Disney index about 60%, 70%, and then cooling off. But this interval training means pushing our limit for a few minutes, cooling out 4, 4, 4. 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off, 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off. Like that, if we do 4 cycles, in about 20, 30 minutes, we can get a lot of exercise benefits. And real life is more like interval training rather than continuous training. We do groceries and we have to take it up a couple of flights of stairs. We don't warm up to do that work. We just do what we need to do. So real life is more like interval training, but we have to be more careful that before we start this type of thing, we talk to our doctors, make sure our health is in reasonable shape before we embark on that. Exercise has been used to help not only the body, but the mind and our spirit for thousands and thousands of years. And our concepts arise from these values. And we want people to connect with their sports, with doing work on their yard or spending time with their grandchildren wholeheartedly. That is what is heartful living, where you lose sense of time. Wow, where did my half an hour go? It just feels like a moment. For me, this 1 hour that I'm ending up talking goes in like half a minute. That's my only wish, that I had really more time with you all. This 1 hour just flies by too fast. So how do we classify sports? There are so many things we can do, but the magic with sports is we don't have to count it as exercise, but we get all the benefits of exercise plus several fold more. And for Marilyn, it's in dancing, which is also a beautiful sport. Before the pandemic, I started weight training and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So these are all the regimen I would do in 45 minutes. And I would take these pictures to impress my son. He plays tennis at a very good level. Nationally, he was ranked. And before he went to college. So this is where he goes to train. And I went to the same place and trained with his team several times. So this is another coach. And this is all that I did this time. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And pushing my limit was revealing, made me understand what my body can do. But now I'm back to playing only tennis. I don't do fitness training. I should do a few times a week if I find the opportunity. But now we have a 2-year-old puppy that requires half an hour of my time, and tennis takes away a lot of my time. So I still haven't gone back to the gym. What I'm showing you here is that depending on how much time we exercise, how far we go, how frequently do it, how hard we push our speed, there is a lot of benefit compared to non-runners and non-exercisers when we start exercising. But when we exercise more than 2 or 3 times a week, we may not be adding that much more value for our overall health. So if we can prudently spend about 3 to 5 times a week walking, we can get all that benefit. So if you end up running instead, you don't need to do even that much. 3 times a week if you run, that's great. So what about running marathons, ultra marathons, triathletics? All those things, if you're doing it out of your happiness, it is okay. Maybe okay. Pushing our limit all the time, a lot of times ends up actually hurting our health rather than helping it. Okay? So this is what the new science is saying. Beyond a certain limit, we are starting to end up hurting our health by over-exercising. This is for people who run. People who walk, we have not found that any amount of walking hurts. So if you want to just walk all day long, that is okay. But most of the walking benefits also you can get in 30 to 40 minutes. Beyond that, you don't need to exercise per day. And then if you ask about other exercises like bodybuilding, weightlifting, and anaerobic exercises, resistance exercises, they are good to build some muscle and to maintain bone strength and prevent osteoporosis. But for heart health specifically, it may not add much value beyond walking or slow running 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. Now, when we add mental stress, it changes everything so much more. So physical exercise benefits, and this is the summary of that thing. The principal survival benefit of exercise training in heart patients is in reducing psychological stress. So when we do that through High Life, I believe we are able to get the benefits of exercise much sooner. And this is another beautiful study. Along with cardiac rehab, when they taught stress management, the benefits just doubled. So it is such an important thing to recognize our mindset, how relaxed we are. So that's why in our system, we ask people to smile 20 times an hour, no matter what. Then they come back and say, Doc, how would I smile 20 times? Then we remind people to connect with that gratitude. So that being the foundation, exercise becomes add-on at that point. And there is so much variety, sports, upper extremity exercises, interval training, which means burst exercise, aerobic interval training, and high intensity interval training for a few minutes, maximum exertion, and then cooling down a little bit, and then again pushing to that limit. Weight training, resistance training also have value in specific situations. And generally above the age of 40, 50, when our bone and muscle strength starts declining, some amount of weight training 2 times a week, 15, 20 minutes, high reps, and not too much heavy weights is excellent. And moving naturally means that phenomenon where people exercise because that is their way of life. That's their way of agriculture or fishing or farming or hunting, or just doing it as part of their day-to-day living, or going to work by biking, walking to work. That sort of thing is moving naturally. And entering into flow, we discussed that today. So how does exercise help? It reduces sympathetic activity and increases parasympathetic or vagal tone. That itself has enormous benefits. On top of it, it improves endothelial function. So people with chest pain, they feel benefits. Transference means doing exercise with the upper extremity. The hand muscles are less than a third the bulk of the leg muscles. But still, with exercising the hands, upper extremities, we're able to get nearly the same benefits of walking when people have disabilities. A surgeon can do 4 or 5 bypass surgeries in 3 hours, whereas nature can do 5,000 bypass surgeries through collaterals. And nature does this all the time. And exercise is a good stimulus. Obviously, you have to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. It's not like if you have a heart attack or need a bypass surgery, you can instead not have the surgery and just go for exercise. No, that's not what we are saying. Take care with the guideline therapies, do what you need to do for your heart problems. But then, and you continue to exercise, nature will continue to only support your heart in deeper ways of healing. And exercise makes us happy. Dose means dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin. All these chemicals in the blood increase with exercise and genuinely make us more happy, fulfilled, energized. So that may be part of the reason how people are entering flow during exercise and building resilience towards everything that life throws at us. Not only people go through injuries sometimes and go through surgeries and family stress, work stress, all these things that life throws at us. Exercise gives us the confidence and psychological and physical resilience to cope and recover and do better at the end of the day. So when people ask how to optimize our health, how to stop aging, procedures, drugs, genes, that are available. But if we focus on our diet, our community, self-inquiry, the connecting with our inner nature and connecting with the world at a deeper level, then we can do so much better with our health. So I leave you with this friend of mine. I've known her now for 15 years. She's in her mid-90s. Yes, she's 95 years of age, but she goes to swim in Greece every year. And she, through the summer, swims with her family in the ocean. So that is what is fun. That is what she's waiting for the rest of the months when she's doing other things with her life. A 95-year-old swimming in the ocean. So if that is keeping her, it's not she's doing it to stay healthy. No, the happiness she has allows her to swim like this. And that is going to keep her going for several more years in good health. So the real scope of self-inquiry is waiting for you to find out in your own terms. Thanks so much for joining us today. It's already on the hour. We have a couple more minutes. We'll take 10 minutes for quick question answers, and then we'll break off in 10 minutes. You can unmute yourself and share your thoughts. If someone wants to say, this is where I'm entering into flow all the time, please do that, and then we can take questions.
Hi, Dr. Chukalingam. It's Tara here from London.
Dr. Chocolate.
Hi, Dr. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but your voice is
okay.
breaking up.
Thank you. My question is, if exercise is not so great for weight loss, does it depend on your food intake for weight loss?
So if you ask me how to lose weight, you have to exercise, but know that exercise is only helping 5% of your success. So 95% of your success is going to come from mindfully eating right. So that is why we take 8 hours to teach this program. And that is how Marilyn at 80, Marilyn can vouch for it. And anybody in High Life will tell you it's not through exercise they're losing weight. And I just showed you the science behind it. That we've known about it in our own research in different ways. The science I showed is from a tribe in Africa, which has been followed for years. They exercise all day long by walking. They walk 10 miles every day, 20 miles, they're hunter-gatherer tribes. They are getting so much exercise and they don't have any excess weight. But if you look at their calorie burning every day, it's not much more than us. So bottom line, we can burn only so much calories. That's how our body is designed. So then how does Marilyn do magic? See, the dancing she is now doing is not to lose weight. I hope you recognize that. She is dancing out of joy. So
Yeah.
High Life and Heartful Living is about joy, finding that inner happiness, and then finding ways to eat anti-inflammatory diet the way we recommend. And then exercise definitely plays a small role.
Okay.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks for that very important question.
Thank you.
People who haven't spoken yet. Nila.
Follow up on what the girl just was talking about. I've been doing the fast for 20 to 26 hours a day. I eat once a day and I don't cheat. But when I do sit down to eat, I try to, in other words, eat string beans, squash, tomato, things that are healthy in a small portion of meat. And I have been sitting on my 10 pounds now for a month. Where can I go to find out exactly size portion and what to eat during a fast?
So you're basically fasting 24 hours every day. So once a day only you're eating. So that is extremely hard to do. And where are you based? Are you in Missouri or somewhere else?
I'm in Florida.
Florida. And how long have you been eating only once a day?
For a month now. Today.
1 month. 1 month.
Yes.
So basically, you've been attending our 4-week series. Is that what motivated?
I missed the second session and I was late today. So, but yes, I have been attending it. I have been through a lot emotionally. My daughter and I both had cancer at the same time. Same cancer. I survived, she didn't. And my husband's had 3 brain surgeries. He's had a stroke. So life in general is, but I'm okay. I am very much okay emotionally, and my stress level, I keep it down now.
Excellent.
So yeah,
now, if you can come on video, that's great. We can all meet you. But if you don't have video, that's okay too. I'll continue to talk.
I have no idea what I look like because I didn't dry my hair this morning. So no.
You're smiling though. That is what
Yes.
matters. And how is your energy level like a month ago? Before you started High Life, how many times were you eating, Dennis?
I snacked throughout the day. I would eat late at night. I would, a lot of times I wouldn't eat until 1 o'clock in the afternoon anyway. I would skip breakfast usually.
Okay. Now, what heart trouble do you have? Any chronic disease like diabetes, hypertension, heart attack,
I have
heart failure?
type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid, hypothyroidism.
But no heart attack or weak heart?
No.
What's your height and weight?
Oh, you're getting cute now. 5'1", and right now I'm 200 pounds.
Okay. So there is a lot of weight that you could lose.
Yes.
I'm going to repeat this. For the first 16 years of my career as a cardiologist, I thought weight is a problem. We need to get rid of the excess weight. Then only heart will do better. But now, in the last 2-3 years, it's changed completely. Weight is not the problem, Dennis. Weight is the opportunity for you to turn the clock backwards. Okay? And we are doing this again and again. And people like Marilyn are at the amazing one end of the spectrum at 80 years, where she's teaching me that it can be done. But Liz, you saw, who came 2 weeks ago, she's the typical age. She's in her 30s, and they are so resilient that they can turn the clock back so quicker. And if you don't mind sharing your age, you can tell us. But if you don't want to, it's not polite for me to ask.
I'm 70. I'll be 71 in July.
Okay. So What
Dr.
I'm
No-
one more
I-
question I'm going to ask you.
Sure,
How
sure.
old does your body or your everything put together feel compared to other people who are your classmates or your friends? How old does it feel? Everything put together,
I
including
probably
the
feel-
loss of your daughter and everything, weighing
Yeah.
down on you. How old does it feel? One number.
I feel like now I'm about my age.
Okay.
know,
2 months ago, how much did you
2
feel?
months ago, I felt 75. The
So
past month,
high life has already brought you down by 4 years.
yes, my energy level is much better. I'm trying not to eat any sugar except fresh fruit.
So before we go on, we all need to give you a big hand.
Yay me! Thank you.
So we are very proud of you, Denise. So I'm happy to spend time with you one-on-one to answer more questions, because at this point, I don't think we should generalize the answers, and this group session is not the right setting. So you can
Okay.
email me and we'll connect back definitely. Okay.
Will
But
do. Will do.
there are ways for you to continue to get in this journey down to 60 by the end of this summer.
Okay.
You're going to report to our group that you're only 60 years by 6 months from now. And from there, how far you go for dance lessons, Marilyn can guide you, and we are going to have fun together.
Okie doke.
Excellent. Thanks so much for joining us and inspiring
Thank
us.
you.
The reason I didn't answer Denise's questions in this group is because she's already doing way more than we prescribe. We prescribe once a week, 24 hours fasting, and then 6 days of the week, 14 hours. She's gone way beyond that already. So that's why I said I'll do this one-on-one with her. So let's take some more questions, and I'm going to get back with her later. Who else wants to go? People who haven't spoken so far.
Okay. People who are having type 2 diabetics, then how they can space that thing. Then other one is that who are having ulcers. Normally they take in frequently the keratin biscuit. Because in Andhra Pradesh they take a lot of spicy food, and most of the people have that general ulcers. So what are the timings? How you can fragment or
Raghupati, very nice questions. Practically, you also mentioned people take spicy food. That is what we need to cut back on. And the smiling will reduce the acid secretion. When you are in a positive mindset, you can cut it down. In High Life, the first 100,000 people, not even one has reported gastritis from fasting. When we do it the right way. Fasting in High Life starts after a few weeks. Denise said she started a month ago. High Life started a month ago for her. So she probably started cutting down on her food right away. But typically what we recommend is first couple of weeks, learn that smiling, learn that optimism. That is what is the key deal that you gain. It's like learning to balance a little bit before you start pushing the pedal. So the acceleration then happens, and gastritis is not an issue. Type 2 diabetes, we have to be careful. You have to work with your doctor. Tell your doctor you're going to go into High Life, which teaches me intuitive eating, and I'm going to cut down my food intake. I'm going to become comfortable with being hungry. That is what our program is. So your doctor will back off on your medicines, and we are happy to guide you with that also one-on-one later. You have to be careful, especially people on insulin and sulfonylureas. These medicines can drop sugar to dangerous levels. You cannot just say, I'm not going to eat. It's not safe. Very important.
Hypoglycemia also.
See, hyperglycemia of diabetes is a problem that can cause heart attack 20 years later. But hypoglycemia can mean risk for life right this moment. So I'm so glad you brought that question. So that's why we don't recommend this for people with type 1 diabetes for sure. For type 2 diabetics who have hypoglycemia risk on insulin and certain medicines, we don't recommend fasting at all. So important.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Nila.
Dr. Chakalingam, there's a chat you need to see about where they can find the video of today.
That we will upload it and share. In a High Life Journey, we'll post it. Okay? It's not yet available. It's going to be available in about 3 days, and we'll post it on our website. Nila, What are your thoughts about entering into flow?
About entering into flow, I think, and I have not been exercising for the past couple of years. I should say about 2 years, I've not been exercising at all. So the first thing I started doing this week is I started my exercise, going for a walk. I said, I made up my mind, I'm going to at least walk for half an hour. So I think there I reached my flow. I mean, I might be very vague or something like that, but me being such a leading a sedentary lifestyle, me getting my butt to go and walk was flow for me, actually speaking. So I'm grateful to High Life journey. So maybe I'll go to the real flow. What were you mentioning, Anna?
It's not one state, it's just a continuum. Slowly you feel more and more grateful for life. That's all it is. And that gratitude translates into performing so well on the tennis court for me once in 10 times, to the point that I have to become self-conscious about it when the match is over and apologize. It's such a beautiful life that we are living. So you keep exploring it. And I know you love to play shuttle, ball, badminton, so that you can explore it too. So many things you can do. Give your best at it. There's a chance you'll enter into it. Excellent.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other thoughts, comments before we wind up for today?
Doctor?
Yes.
Aruna, I just wanted to ask, it is difficult to starve yourself, to start off immediately. Is it possible for us to cut down on starch, take more vegetables, more fruits? Because I'm also diabetic and I'm on medicines, not on insulin though. So is it possible to take more of raw vegetables and fruits, cut down on starch?
This is very, very valuable, Aruna. I'm so glad you're asking this. Let me mute everyone and then... So I just muted everyone. So if you need to talk, you'll have to unmute yourself. So Aruna's question about instead of fasting, how to cut down the food intake and move forward. There is no right or wrong way to practice this high life. So high life is connecting with ourselves. For that, we are using being hungry as a tool. That's all it is at the end of the day. And why do we need to connect with ourselves? If you ask that question, the answer is to celebrate life. And how to do this? Last week, we had Professor Pandian. You might not have seen that video yet. He eats 6 meals a day. And he came and showed his food. And he talked about his way of practicing high life, which is zero fasting. He says, I don't want to be hungry. But he's my mentor. And together with him, we wrote a paper, which we just got published, saying type 2 diabetes. That word was coined about 100 years ago. But I wish we had not made that mistake 100 years ago. So what I'm trying to say is most people are not yet type 2 diabetic until their pancreas actually fails and we don't measure it. We just, whenever the sugar levels go above a limit, we are calling it diabetes and starting medicines. There we had the opportunity for 5, 10, 20, 30, sometimes 40 years. From the age of 25 to 65, we have opportunity in so many people to reverse diabetes just with lifestyle. That we have not optimized. But for people who have advanced diseases and complications of diabetes like a heart attack and stroke, that is when they come to me as a cardiologist. But still, I don't work not only on the heart, but I also work on the diabetes and lifestyle. So the answer to your specific question is, you view the video from last week, you recognize what he's eating. He's been diabetic and hypertensive for 35 years, Dr. Pandian. That's what he clarified. From the age of 30, he's had it. And for the last 30 years, he has not taken any pills. That's all he shared. And it's not like he doesn't care about diabetes or blood pressure. His pressure is normal. His sugar level is normal. And how he is doing it is what the message was for last week. So please view that video. Then we will chat some more. There are so many ways of doing it. You don't have to, like Denise in Florida, she just stopped eating. It's not possible, but she has done it. And she just came and said she has done it for 4 weeks continuously. So some people work in different ways. For most people, it's not that easy. What Dennis has done may take years for many people to get to. Okay, so you can cut back on the portion, eat healthy things, and slowly get into this and talk to your doctor and cut back on your diabetes medicines over the next several months. But we are not helping you manage your diabetes or hypertension. We are actually saying if there is a window of opportunity called excess weight, and if you are trusting us enough, we want to use that opportunity to reverse your chronic conditions working with you. That is the real scope. Now that you smile, I know you're in. Glad for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, doctor.
2 more, 3 more quick questions, and then we'll close for today.
Doctor, what I noticed is when people do good exercise, they feel more hungry and they feed more, so their weight goes up. Whereas instead of increasing eating, if they control their eating, they do exercise, then that helps them to reduce the weight. That's what I have found in my life with people.
Very important, sir. Exercise makes us more hungry. We have to first control the hunger, then only exercise helps. So we need to give Dr. Pillai a hand. So this is a real world problem. When we exercise, we really get hungry, right? That is what nature is. So first we have to understand hunger. What other quick questions we have? Any other thoughts?
There's
entering into
another
flow?
question about the taping in the chat.
Oh, I haven't been seeing the chat at all, Marilyn. Shall I open the chat now?
Oh, yeah, there are a lot of, at least there's a couple questions in the chat.
Dr. Chakalingam.
Yes.
Hi, this is Jimmy. Can you hear me?
Hey,
This
Jimmy. Nice to see
Hi.
you, my friend. You want to
I'm
come
just-
on video or you can't?
I don't know I don't know what I'm doing right now.
We can hear you loud and clear. You can talk to us now. Go ahead.
But I was just wanting to let you know that I'm still doing good. This is my 3rd day with no meat. I've been trying the no meat thing and it's really worked for me. And I just want to let you know I appreciate your help in all the classes and getting to know more about all this healthy living because it's something that I should have been doing a long time ago.
Can I introduce you, Jimmy?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can I tell this group who you really are?
Yes.
You don't mind?
No, I don't mind.
See, Jimmy is a very amazing person I got to meet 2 weeks ago. Not even 2 weeks, maybe only 10, 12 days ago. She has her own doctor. She has a interventional cardiologist and a heart failure cardiologist taking care of her in our own hospital. And her heart failure expert called me because he felt High Life might help Jimmy. Why? She's only 48, but she's already had stent and her heart is weak. She's been diabetic on insulin and 4 other diabetes medicines for 20 years. Her kidney function is really gone down over the last 10 years, but now in the last few months, it has gone down much more. So hypertension, diabetes, heart attack, heart failure, kidney failure, and challenges with walking much because of musculoskeletal issues. So this is the first time I'm meeting her 2 weeks ago, 2 Fridays ago, I think. And now she is doing so well that I can spend 1 hour telling you about her story. We are able to cut back so many of our medicines. And we found a way, despite all these challenges, how to move forward. And I'm so glad she came and spoke in our group. And when people like Jimmy get better, when people like Marilyn are showing that at any age, anything is possible, then really cardiologists and the Western medical system has to wake up to this real power of the healing that we all possess inside ourselves. So let's all give a big hand for Jimmy and let us spend half a minute praying that Jimmy succeeds, because I do my best. Jimmy is doing her best, but it's going to take your wishes for her to come through in 6 months and become successful just like Liz and Willie and Marilyn. I want Jimmy to be so successful in 6 months. So let's take half a minute to really wish her success.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much, Jimmy. I'm going to stop the